Boker Tov. Good morning, everybody. This is amazing to be able to be learning with all of you once again. Bezrat Hashem, this is going to be the final, not just a final shir, but in a great sense, it's a shir which wraps up an entire summer of learning together every morning at 9:15. Pirkei Avot. We accomplished, Baruch Hashem, the first chapter, the second chapter, and now we're concluding the third chapter. We are in Perek Shlishi, chapter 3, middle of the second to last Mishna. It begins, Hu Haya Omer, middle of Mishna 17. Hu Haya Omer, he used to say. Who is he? We look at the beginning of the Mishnah, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, the great tzaddik, which we talk about him at the Seder night. Hu Haya Omer, he used to say as follows. Kol shechochmato meruba mimasav, anyone that their chochma, their wisdom, is more than their action. L'mahu domeh, what is he compared to? Le'ilan, to a tree. She'anafav merubin, that has many branches. V'sharashav muatin, and his roots are few. In other words, the chokhmah is compared to the branches, and the maasim, the deeds, are compared to the roots. And so, if the wisdom is a lot of wisdom, so it's as if he has a lot of branches, but if he doesn't have the maasim, if he doesn't have the deeds, then it's few. A wind can come, uprooted from the ground, and turn it upside down. In other words, what's the most important part? The most important part is to have strong roots. And if the roots are not as strong as the tree needs, then very easily can the tree be turned over. Shne'amar, as it says in the verse, V'haya k'arar ba'arava, v'lo yireh ki yavotov, v'shachan charirim ba'midbar, eretz melecha v'lo teshev. If the tree is not substantiated properly, and a person acts in this way, then a person can be like that tree, chas v'shalom, and to be turned over, not to have good roots, strong enough roots. Aval, however, kol shema'asav merubin michochmato, whoever his deeds are more than his chachma, more than his wisdom, then that's the most important part. Having strong roots means to be able to do ma'asim, to be able to do action. Action brings a person to have a long-term, steady, healthy life. So that's when the ma'asim, when the deeds, the actions are more than the wisdom. L'ma'u domeh, what is he compared to? Le'ilan, to a tree, shanafav muatin. His branches, its branches are few. However, v'sharashav merubin, but the roots are many. So if you look from the outside, it may seem to be, oh boy, look, the branches are not that many. So maybe the tree is not such a substantiated tree. But if you have a deeper vision, a laser vision into the roots beneath the ground, you will see that it's very substantiated. On the contrary, it's very deep. There are many roots, and pretty much you can rest assured that nothing is going to happen to the tree because of the strong roots. Sha'afilu kol haruchot sheba'olam, that even if all of the winds and hurricanes in the world, I stuck that in, ba'ot v'noshavot, will come and try to sway it, ein mizizin otom mimkomo, they cannot move it from its place. Shne'emar, as it says in the verse, v'haya ke'etz shotul al mayim, v'al yuval yishalach sharashav, v'lo yireh ki yavochom, v'haya aleo ra'anan, that if the tree is planted properly near the water and it has proper roots, even if there's a lot of heat, Nevertheless, nothing will happen to it, even if it's in a year of drought, and it will still give forth fruit, because it's substantiated. In other words, in summary, what this part of the Mishna is telling us, that the most important thing for a tree is to have strong roots. The same thing applies, and the same thing applies to to a person. We have to act like a tree, like we say in the 3 parshas ago. We read that Ki ha'adam eitz hasadeh. It's actually 5 parshas ago. Ki ha'adam eitz hasadeh. A person is like the tree, the fruit of the tree, like the tree of the field. So therefore, we have to learn from this how we can be more substantiated. We can be more solid. So there's an interesting question which the Rabbi asks over here. Based on what we learned over here, wisdom is compared to branches, and the deeds are compared to the roots. Most probably, why is that? Because the deeds are more practical. The wisdom is more flowery, more branches, but the deeds, you can't really see their accomplishment, so they're more compared to the roots. They're underneath the ground, but really they are the source of all success. So the Rebbe says, seemingly, the comparison should be just exactly the opposite. The chachma, the wisdom, is the basic. What comes first? First you have chachma, first you have wisdom, and then you can do the actions, the maasim. So which one is the root and which one are the branches? The wisdom is the root, because that's the root of your actions, that's the source, the basis of your actions. And then after that, as an outcome of that, comes the actions. So that should be, the action should be compared to the branches, not the way the Mishnah writes it. And so the answer is a very, very deep answer. Rabbi says, first let's understand what it says in the Talmud regarding the whole idea of a root and the branch. Shoresh, the root, zu haneshama, is the soul. Va'anaf, and the branch is the body, that's the guf. So the Rebbe asks, how do we compare a branch and the roots to a guf and the neshama, while the branches sprout from the source, from the root? The guf, the body, which we compare to the branch, does not come from the neshama. The neshama is one entity, and the guf, the body, is another entity. So why do we have this comparison, this statement in the Talmud that the root is the, understand what the Mishna, what the Talmud says over here, that the root is the neshama and the branch is the body, will understand our Mishnah much better. When the Talmud says that the branch is the body, it doesn't mean for the physical body. It means that in the neshama itself, there are 2 parts of the neshama. One part of the neshama is the neshama, the more spiritual part of the neshama, so to speak. And then you have the more part of the soul. The bodily part of the neshama is the lower part of the soul, and that's the part of the neshama which comes down into the body when the child is born for many happy years. This part of the neshama, the Gemara, the Talmud compares to a branch, because even though the source, the root, is the essence of the neshama which remains above, nevertheless the quote-unquote bodily part of the neshama, which is called the guf, comes from it. And that's the part that comes and encloses itself into the body. The difference between these 2 parts of the neshama is expressed in their effect on the body of the person. The part of the neshama which encloses itself into the body, into the physical body, is sort of limited based on the limitations of the body itself. And therefore, its effect on the body is limited. On the other hand, the more elevated part of the soul, which really it remains above, and it does not become enclosed into the body, is higher than the limitations of the body. And therefore, its effect on the body is from above, not enclosed within inside of it. Similarly, when it comes to the service of a person serving Hashem, the effect that that part of the neshama, which has on the body, on the person, the part of the neshama which is called the lower part of the neshama, the bodily part of the neshama, so to speak, has a limited effect on the body. On the other hand, the main part of the neshama, which remains above, does not become enclosed into the body, and therefore it is not limited in the effect which it has on the person, because it is higher than rationale. This level of selflessness, of bittul to Hashem, is expressed in Kabbalatol, accepting upon ourselves the yoke of Hashem. This represents a total devotion, dedication to Hashem, higher than any rationale. According to this, we can understand why our Mishnah compares the chokhmah, the seichel, to the branches, and the wisdom to the branches, and the actions of a person to the roots. Because the service of Hashem, which is based on rationale, that's based on the part of the neshama which is enclosed into the body. So that's not the source. That's compared to a branch, as we just explained from the Talmud. On the other hand, the maaseh, the deed, which is the action, and that's the Kabbalatol, accepting upon ourselves the yoke of Hashem, that is a much deeper level, and that's an outcome of the effect which the essence of the neshama has, which that is compared to the root, because that really is the root, that really is the source. Beautiful interpretation. Let's do the final Mishnah now of this chapter. This is really exciting. We're making a siyum now. Perek Shlishi, the third chapter. Mishnah Yudchet, Mishnah Chai, Mishnah 18. Rabbi Eliezer Chisma Omer. Rabbi Eliezer Chisma says, Kinin. There are different interpretations what kinin are. One interpretation is that it refers to the offerings which are from a bird. Ken is like a bird, and there are many technical, complicated halachot on how to bring those korbanot and these offerings in the Beit HaMikdash. Ufitchei nida, the laws of impurity of a woman. And so there are many details on how she has to keep account of the different days of when she becomes pure and how to purify herself and when to go to the mikvah. So these are subjects of Torah Shebal Peh, of the oral Torah. Hein. These all are gufei halachot. Many subjects of halakha, of Torah law, of the oral Torah, shemekablim ala, which we receive on them sachar, reward. Tikufot, which is different mazalot, the different galaxies and how things move around. The gematriyayot. We'll see in a second of what exactly it means, but this basically refers to the calculation. The simple meaning is that it refers to the calculation of the different, the numerical value of the different letters. Are different desserts. For example, when you eat a meal and at the end of the meal you have a good dessert, that really tops off the entire meal. So too over here, these detailed halachot, which we have to put ourselves to it and really keep track. These are like a dessert, and so these the Bartanura explains that the tkufot refers to how the calculation of the different galaxies and learning the mazalot, the different fortunes, how they work. And gematriyot are the numerical value of the letters. So what's the connection between these two? And why only are these two called dessert, a good taste for chachma, for wisdom? There are many other types of things which are also like Rashi Tevot, which are the abbreviation of different words for different other words. And so the Rebbe explains that really gematriyot refers to geometry, which is the measurement of the earth, and how to calculate different things. For example, the directions of how to daven, and also regarding Sfirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer, where you are exactly in the date line. All of these details are great wisdom, are great chachma on how Hashem created the world. And both of these two subjects, these and the Matriyayot, are our chachma, our wisdom and understanding to the nations of the world. The nations of the world can recognize and and the nations of the world can admire, can appreciate the fact that many things in the Torah maybe they cannot appreciate. But when it comes to the importance of the wisdom, the parts of the Torah which they can relate to, that becomes a Kiddush Hashem, that becomes a sanctification of Hashem's name. And this way they're also able to admire Am Yisroel for our wisdom. Shalom, thank you. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. This is our Siyum. We thank Hashem for giving us the ability to finish off the third chapter. Bezrat Hashem, we're going to continue after the Chagim. We'll continue to learn every morning with Hashem's help. And we're going to be learning a new subject. We're going to continue Pirkei Avot. In other words, the second three chapters, 4, 5, and 6 after Pesach. But for now, we're going to wish everyone a Chag Sameach, a meaningful Yom Kippur. I hope to see all of you right here on Yom Kippur. It's going to be amazing, right here on King George Street, as we did last year, tomorrow night, and also Thursday by day and Thursday evening. So all the best. Have a Shana Tova. And I look forward to seeing you every Friday at 9:30 for Kabbalah Cafe right here. All the best. Shalom, shalom. And of course, thank you to Raya and Mordechai for everything.